minute by minute. These are elevated activity sessions. You'll be able to see your sleep. You'll be able to know how much sleep you got. We'll give you a quality score for the sleep. You'll see how many times you're interrupted, even if you weren't conscious of being interrupted. We'll even be able to tell you things like your resting heart rate. And then ultimately where all this goes is here. It goes to what we call healthy habits. And this is using the device to track your life in a way that leads you to simple things you can do to improve it, simple actions you can take to work health into your everyday life.
Can you give me a tour?
I can, sure. So there's 3 sections to what we call the dashboard. This is where all the data goes. Underneath it all is the data section. So I'll go here first. And here is where you can actually see the data and play with the data if you're the kind of person who wants to see all of these things tracked. If you want to see not so much the details, but you want to see broader trends, you can go to the view that we call patterns. And here it will take all of that same data and show you a kind of heat map so that you can look through that and go, oh, on Tuesdays in the afternoon I tend to be burning less calories than on Wednesday mornings. And you can do that for any of the things that we
show me that drop down again.
Sure.
So what are the drop downs? Perspiration?
The basic metrics that we show you are either outputs from the sensors or then calculated metrics based on the sensors. So calories, heart rate, steps, perspiration, skin temperature.
Now, I just noticed the heart rate. You're not really showing that second by second, so it's not really appropriate as a sports monitor or something where I'm going to be able to see, oh, I hit 120 beats per minute, and I could use it for a training program or something.
Right. This is a really, really important point. It's an insightful question. We do calculate heart rate, and you could see here previously in the details section that it's there and I can look at it, but we really don't think of ourselves as a training device, as a sports optimization device. We really are less about your 30-minute run and more about the full 24 hours of your day, trying to understand your work, your play, your sleep, and how all of those things contribute to your health.
Is there a reason for that? Is it so you don't want to be categorized as a medical device, or?
No, it's not. I mean, certainly.
Or is it the sensors are
we don't see ourselves as a medical device. It's. I would say it's for 2 reasons. We're using very different technology. We don't want our users to have to wear a chest strap, which is a great way to get the kind of information you want to get for a running device, a sports optimization or performance optimization device. But it's sure not something you want to wear all day long. So to build technology into something that you do want to wear all day long, you got to make technology choices. And the choice that we made to get at heart rate is using this optical way that we talked about, shining light into the skin, seeing the blood flow, and using that to get at heart rate.
And you probably can't do that for very long, otherwise you kill the battery, right?
Well, we do it throughout the entire day, and this is actually the second purpose. It's not just a technology reason that we do it the way we do it. It's for really a different intent. There are many people who are athletes, who are amateur athletes, who are looking to really optimize their performance, and those people have access right now to great products. But there are millions of us who are looking for a way to fit health into our busy schedules, into our real lives, the one with ups and downs, the one with getting sick and holidays and travels and all those things. And we feel like there hasn't been a device for the rest of us that helps us do that, that helps us, first of all, really understand at a physiological level what's going on with our health and understand our own bodies and how our day affects them very well. But then more importantly, something that really leads to the actions. What are the simple things that I can do to make a difference that I'll actually stick with?
And that's what it's doing on screen, is it actually tells you, first of all, it senses your context. It senses how often you go walking.
Exactly, sure.
And it sort of builds a baseline, and then it tries to urge you to go walking a little bit more, right?
Right. So here I can interact with the data itself if I want to. More often what I'm going to want is the system to actually analyze the data for me and tell me interesting stuff about me. So our insights section does that. This is the system automatically surfacing to me things like I slept 5 hours and 10 minutes last night, and how many times I awoke, and how many steps I took, and how many total minutes of activity that I had. And so this helps me really start to understand where I am and what I can be working on. And that leads us to healthy habits. This is the system telling me when I automatically hit one of these habits that I'm really trying to work on, and it's rewarding me for doing so. So we can take a look at those. This is a week at a glance for all the things that I'm doing to build health into my life. And you'll notice none of them are going to the gym. None of them are going for a run or going for a 20-mile bike ride. And this isn't to say that those things are bad for you. This is to say that most of us don't fit those things into our lives very often. So for me, my habits are about taking steps per day. It's about trying to concentrate on sleeping more.
Yeah.
We just launched a product, so no wonder I haven't been sleeping that much lately. But if you go back a little ways, I really am trying to work on sleeping a little bit better. And last week, I did much better than I have done this week. And it's about staying active. It's about getting to really a good 30 minutes of elevated activity every day. So here the system is tracking that I'm doing that, and it's showing me the days that I do it and the days that I don't.
So in corporations, we're paying for a lot of our own healthcare.
Yeah,
We're
that's right.
sharing that cost
Yeah.
among all the employees, like at Rackspace. It's a huge bill, right?
Yeah,
And if we
yeah.
can get our employees to be a little healthier, maybe that bill starts going down a little
Right,
bit, right?
right.
Can we are you thinking about that, about how to do it, how to get us to buy 4,000 of these things and hand them out to all our employees and get them to play a game against each other? Or
Yeah, our strategy
there are
is-
some startups that are trying to do that, like Kias, right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. We know those guys, and we're thrilled with what they're doing. Our strategy was just to get you in here and see it, and we were hoping that you'd buy 4,000 of them today. No,
I wish I
think-
could. You can't
I
even
think this is-
sell me one right now.
Not right now. Not right now.
You're
got
sold
too many-
out through Christmas.
Sold out through Christmas. We got too many waiting, so you can't have one yet. I think you're right that this idea of corporate wellness and companies with huge constituencies of employees, the employees themselves spending a lot of money on their healthcare, and the company as well. It is a huge issue for the country and also a huge opportunity. So yeah, I think the right way to think about this is companies like us who can actually track what you, the employer, are doing and can reward you for doing the right things. You'll see companies like us cooperating with companies like Kios who are actually running the program in the corporation, working with the corporation to figure out what do they want to do with their employees and how do they want to reward them. And I think that's an interesting model. I think first we've got a bunch of users that we need to satisfy who have ordered a basis band already, and then we'll figure out how to sell them to companies.
A little bit further out, because we're clearly in the Apple II days of this stuff, or early days,
early days, yes.
Not very many people have these yet, and
right.
This is the first product, and it's going to get better and better. These, you're collecting a lot of data, and my book, I'm writing a book on context, which predicts that you're going to hook this data that you're collecting off my sensors up with, let's say, my Facebook to know a little bit more about my behavior in life, or my Gmail and Google Calendar to know a little bit more about, oh, I'm traveling next week,
Right.
and so you should expect a different kind of behavior from me next week than you did this week. Are you thinking about that? And I, on the downside of that is people are freaked out by all these
Yeah.
sensors that are going to study our lives. I mean, you're going to know that I have sex or that I'm
We'll know that you're
sleeping on the
active.
couch.
We'll know that you're active at midnight. Yeah, we are thinking about these things, and you hit on exactly the balance between the two things, right? More context can provide more value to you. Now, we've already bitten off a lot to chew here, but there's lots of stuff that we can do to add more value, more context around your health, and that's very important to us. We've got lots of ideas around that, including some of the ones that you mentioned. But the balance to that is customers, consumers, users of the product have to be comfortable. They have to be comfortable with where that data is coming from, with sharing that data. So ultimately, what's most important to us is that you, the user, have control over that. You decide how much data you want to share, whether it's our data that you want to share with someone else or their data that you want as part of your basis experience. So right now, we think we've struck that balance. We've developed an experience that we think is going to be great for you. And then we'll work with our users to figure out how much of that they want to spread to maybe just a small group of people, maybe just their very close friends, or maybe just their wife, or something quite close. And maybe some users will want to spread that really to their true social network, right? Publishing their accomplishments, showing when they hit their habits. But for now, we're going to focus on just giving you a great experience, and then we'll figure out how to help you spread that.
Very cool. Thanks so much. Where do we get one of these, and how much are they?
They're $199, and today you're going to get it at mybasis.com.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
You bet. Start over because we're not on the same page on what this is supposed to be doing.
Okay,
I'm recording for you as well.
Okay. Well,
So give me a tour. Give me a tour around what it shows me once I wear it a few days.
right. So let's do that. Now, the device is collecting all the data automatically, right? Lots of sensors running all the time. I'm not putting it in any special mode. I don't have to push a button to put it in sleep mode and then remember to push another button to wake it up to take it out of sleep mode in the morning. All that data eventually goes to my basis. So this is our dashboard. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to start at kind of the underpinnings where all the data sits and show you that if you're the kind of person who wants to interact with data, then it's all there for you. So I'm on our data section. This is the view that we call details. So this is me actually looking at the outputs from the sensors. I can see my heart rate and steps and calories. I can interact with this in different ways if I choose, look at different sensors or how they relate to each other. If I'm the kind of person who wants to actually see sort of broader information, maybe more at the trend level, then I can look at the patterns view. And this is going to show me the same data, but it's every hour of the day across a couple of weeks. So this is kind of a classic heat map style of rendering data and helps me try to find patterns. And I can do that for, again, any of the metrics that we track. So if I'm that kind of person, the data is there for me to play with. But what we think is more interesting is having the system analyze all of that data for you and then automatically surface the stuff that's interesting. So we call those insights. Now here what I'm going to see is my days and what they're made up of. Now this week isn't finished yet, so I'm going to go back 1 week where there's a little bit more data to look at. What we're going to see here is a summary of each of my days. We'll get to that in a moment. And then beneath that, it's all those discrete moments that make up my health. It's all those ways that my lifestyle is impacting my health. It's finding those moments of 16 minutes of elevated activity or 35. It's finding that moment of sleep, the 6 hours and 18 minutes, and my resting heart rate. And then it summarizes those for me. It shows me my sleep quality, how many times I was awoke, and an activity summary for the day, including a total of how active I was, right? There's conventional wisdom that we should all be active 30 minutes a day, and that day I got a bit over an hour, so that's a good day. And then the interesting thing is it shows you how many of your habits that you're trying to accomplish you've accomplished. And it'll automatically see when you've done them.
So you set it up when you're setting it up.
So you choose
You
what
want to say,
habits.
like I need to lose about 40 pounds, so I would put it in there.
So you might want to work on activity levels, right? Or somebody who doesn't sleep very well might want to work on sleep. So this is a good segue for us to actually look at
Can
my
I get rid
habits.
of my kids?
You can, but we can't help you with that.
Because my kids are the ones that interrupt my sleep. So.
So from the data to the insights up to the habits, this is really how do I act on what this data tells me? How do I make changes in my life that fits in my busy schedule, in my real life, right? Not the life that we read about in magazines, but my real life.
Can it tell you that while you're living your life? Can it say, hey, you should go for a walk right now?
So we do some things on the device to give you a sense of where you are in the day. So for instance, on my device I have this little progress bar that's showing me my progress toward my activity habit. I'm trying to take a certain number of steps per day, and this shows me, middle of the day, am I halfway there or not? So we can do some of those things, but obviously a lot of that requires some pretty interesting processing, which happens at the cloud. So for habits, there's a few things that are really interesting about this. I said earlier that we've tapped into some sort of behavioral psychology lessons, and we've also done a bunch of user testing. One of the important lessons that we feel like we've earned is psychologically it's very important for a system like this to kind of have a fresh start on a frequent basis. So we've set ours up to be a weekly system, fresh start every Monday, and that's because we all know that we're going to fall off the wagon, especially when it comes to health. For all the reasons we've talked about, travel and getting sick and being a busy parent as you are with your kids. So you need a system that sort of recognizes that. And psychologically, it's very important if I'm going to stay motivated that I have a fresh start after a bad week. Yeah. So our system is set up on a weekly dynamic for that reason.